Is the Mavic 4 Pro going to have a new head? I mean, a really different head than what we see in the Mavic 3 Pro. Will it have 4 terabytes of internal storage, ND filters, dual native ISO? Well, I got the answers to these questions as well as more leaked images and a leaked video. But first, I have a simple and yet humble request. Please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, it helps this channel grow, but most importantly, it keeps you informed on the latest camera gear. Located in the bottom of this image, we can see the Mavic 4 Pro. It's hiding and it does appear to be upside down, assuming that the orientation of the cameras is identical to what we see in the Mavic 3 Pro. The head is streamlined, and that's all due to be more rugged to handle more sustained winds. And it's easy to see how the head is more streamlined, built to handle stronger sustained winds. And if we compare this image to other images that we've received from Chinese vloggers, well, we can see there's a very strong correlation. But also hidden under the tarp is what appears to be another unit. Or is this a new head that DJI is trying out for the Mavic 4 Pro? Will the Sin version have a different head? And what we've been told by multiple sources is that the Mavic 4 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro Sin have the exact same cameras and the exact same housing. But this is the Air 3S. The image shows the 3S on top. They're simply using it to capture footage as a baseline or for testing. But in this image, it shows a completely different sensing platform, though the gimbal head appears to be the exact same as this image. I'm not just throwing this out there to get you to answer the question for me, but if you can, I'd appreciate it. Because I went looking at DJI's website over their, well, commercial drones, their industrial drones, and their enterprise drones. And I didn't find any head that looked like this. But we are dealing with one big issue here. The resolution isn't very good, and I'm having trouble trying to differentiate whether, well, the lenses, the cameras are interchangeable, or perhaps maybe DJI is just removing them, or perhaps they're using some sort of tape that makes it appear like it's a slightly different head. If you know what it is, let me know in the comment section down below. But now it's time to show you a leaked video. That's right, we have a short leaked video from X27 once again. So here it is. If this keeps up with the frequency of leaked images, before long, we're going to get leaked promo ads and retail packages. Do you think that somebody at DJI's marketing division is actually intentionally leaking information? I don't know. It's either beginning to look like that or they've got some pretty significant leaks. Anyhow, now it's time to turn our attention to leaked specifications. The Mavic 4 Pro, just like the Mavic 3 Pro, has 3 lenses. The main lens for the Mavic 4 Pro is a 24mm, and it has a micro four thirds sensor. Now the 50mm, well, it has a slightly smaller sensor at 1/1.3 inches. And the 166mm super telephoto, an even smaller sensor at 1/1.5 inches. But there's some other benefits that you might have heard about, such as being able to tilt up and down. Well, latest leak specifications say that it can tilt up by 90 degrees and down by 90 degrees. And apparently that rumor that it's going to have a 100 megapixel resolution, it is. Now, what did they call it? It was called a 100 megapixel multi-frame, and that's in photo mode. Multi-frame photo mode. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? All right, now let's talk about the internal storage, because at first it's going to seem like these drones, that's right, we're getting 2 drones, the Mavic 4 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro Sin. So in the Mavic 4 Pro, we're getting 512 gigabytes. But in the Mavic 4 Pro Sin, we're getting 8 times that, 4 terabytes. So why so much? Well, maybe the codecs could give us a bit of a hint. Now, I believe the Mavic 4 Pro will actually get Apple ProRes 422 HQ. It's really hard to tell based on how the specifications, the leaked specifications, are worded. It's definitely going to show up in the Mavic 4 Pro Sin. But the Mavic 4 Pro Sin also gets Apple ProRes 4444 XQ. That's right. Now, what that's going to do in terms of flight time or recording time is it's going to make that 4 terabytes seem like it's, well, 512 gigabytes. And have I left anything? No, I haven't. So that's pretty impressive. Just looking at it here, it just seems silly. Apple ProRes 44XQ. That's going to give you an awful lot of, well, not so much detail, it gives you more color information, so more chroma and more luminance. So what that kind of indicates to me is that for that to be usable, the cameras, the lenses of the cameras, the sensor, the resolution of the image sensor, the data pathways, all that needs to be really humming hard to actually be able to benefit from 44XQ. I've never ever shot with it. Most every video I shoot with is with Apple ProRes 422HQ. And that's what I'm shooting with right now. And it actually looks very good. And what you're watching, well, keep in mind that YouTube's algorithm does compress that significantly. But seeing Apple ProRes 422HQ, it's what I do all my major projects on. I think it's pretty good. What do you think? Are you excited by 44XQ? Let me know in the comments section. The Mavic 4 Pro is capable of 6K video up to 50 and 60 frames per second HDR. Now in 4K, it can do all the way up to 100 and 120 frames per second. And this is where we get to some of the really interesting stuff. Now in terms of ND filters, it does have ND filters, but they're stepless electronic ND filters with 1 to 6 stops. And dual native ISO, 400 and 1200. And I think I left something out. What did I leave out here? Dual native ISO. Oh yes, 14 stops of dynamic range. Now that number by itself doesn't excite me a whole lot. Why? Well, you see, I have right here in my hand the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Now Canon advertises this as having 16 plus stops of dynamic range. So, really good, right? Well, if you take a look at independent tests, well, it's more like 13.5 stops, which is still very good. That places this camera within the top 7 cameras, including cinema cameras. So 14 stops of dynamic range from DJI. Does it matter? Well, I'll get to that in a moment. It depends, first of all, on is that they're advertised or is that real world? But keep in mind, unlike a digital stills camera, the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, for most of us, unless you're flying in New York State or New Jersey and you like flying at night, and you know who you are, most of us are going to be flying in the daylight, where 14 stops of dynamic range is going to be, well, more than enough. The Mavic 4 Pro has a battery that's capable of 95.3 watt hours, which translates to about 52 minutes of flight time. And its weight, well, it weighs in at around 1,045 grams, which is about 2.3 pounds. Other interesting tidbits, the charger is a 240 watt charger, and it does come with an Oculus 4 Plus video transmission system, which is capable of transmitting video some 40 kilometers or 25 miles. Have I left anything out there? The weight? Yep, got that. Okay, perfect. Now on to the price and availability. With all the leaked specifications that we've received on the Mavic 4 Pro, well, the price hasn't changed and it's stuck to euros. So we're looking at a price in terms of euros of 2,200. Now, in terms of US dollars, we don't expect the price to differentiate too much from that. Probably somewhere around $19.99 to around $20.99. Why is that? Well, if you go ahead and use the exchange rate, that's not going to work for you. Because you see there's taxes, tariffs, probably hearing a lot about the T word lately. But also in Europe, unlike North America, the value-added tax or the retail tax is actually embedded into the price. So it's a bit more of a complex formula. If you want to test it out for yourself, go take a look at the price of the R5, the R5 Mark II, the Sony, any camera. Look at it in the United States and then look at it in Europe and you'll see how that loosely correlates. So what about expected time frame? Well, the latest rumors are showing April. Now, previously it had shown January, but we all know that, well, it turned out to be the Matrix 4. And of course, we had the DJI Flip. So there was a couple of things in there which made things a little bit confusing, but the latest leaks seem to solidify around, well, April. But realistically, where could DJI announce this? Well, they could definitely do it in February. And we have a major photo and video trade show showing up at the end of February 27th to March the 2nd at Yokohama, Japan, and it's called CP+. It wouldn't surprise me if DJI announced their new Mavic 4 Pro, and especially the Mavic 4 Pro Sin, on the heels of that trade show. But it could go all the way to April, but I definitely do not see the announcement happening in March. Why? Well, because in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of schools take a week off, from high schools, grammar schools, mid schools to, well, colleges during the month of March. And it's not always at the beginning. Some do it at the end, some do it at the middle. So if you go ahead and announce it during March, it's probably going to get lost in the shuffle. Not many people are going to pay attention. So that's why we think there's a possibility of February right around CP+. Otherwise, I think sticking to the April timeframe is probably pretty good. But what we're going to do here, and the reason why I have the smart links down below, is we're going to cover this, and as soon as we know the exact date and time, we're going to let you know. We're going to cover the announcement live. And if you want to go ahead and copy down these, what I call them, smart pre-order links, what they're going to do, as soon as that the embargo is lifted, they're going to show you all versions of the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, the Sin version, different kit packages with the Fly More bundle. It allows you to very quickly see the price and pick the one you want. It can save you anywhere from 5 to 35 seconds, depending on how quick you are with the mouse. And what that does is get you, well, a little bit further up in the queue. As we've seen by many camera companies across the world, delays are becoming a thing that if you want something pretty quickly, you're going to have to pre-order. This lens here, the Canon RF 200 to 800 millimeter, some people that pre-ordered it on the day it was announced had to wait 8 to 10 months. It's unbelievable. But a bit of a disclosure here, and if you do use my affiliate links to purchase any of the items I have listed below, lots of cameras on sale by Canon and Nikon, as well as lenses and accessories. I do get a small commission back, but honestly, guys, that literally helps keeps the lights on, both the fill light or the key light and the fill light. But it's one of the reasons why you don't see a 30 to 3 minute sponsored ad right at the beginning of the video. I find it rather irritating, and some of you are telling me that YouTube is increasing the frequency of the ads. So the last thing I want to do is throw out another sponsorship ad to you where it's just frustrating. So a big thanks to those of you that do use my affiliate links for Adorama, Amazon, and B&H. It really does help keep this channel going, and a big thanks to you. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.